Dad, I'm putting the house on the market. Those words changed everything for 78-year-old John Miller, a retired mechanic who spent decades waiting for his son to come home. When workers found a wrench with a note hidden in his garage, Ethan finally understood what he'd been too busy to see, but by then, the coffee was already cold. Dad, I'm putting the house on the market. Those were the words. 6 words on a phone call that lasted 42 seconds. John Miller held the receiver long after his son Ethan hung up. The dial tone hummed in his ear like a flat line. He didn't argue. Didn't beg. He just said, "Okay, son. Whatever you think is best." 78 years old, and John had learned when to stop fighting. This father and son relationship had become something he barely recognized anymore. It was Sunday. Like always, he'd made 2 cups of coffee that morning. One for him. One for the son who never came. A betrayal so quiet, most people wouldn't even call it that. But abandonment doesn't always come with shouting and slamming doors. Sometimes it comes with silence and broken promises. Before I tell you what happened in that garage, if you love real stories about family betrayal, regret, and the revenge that comes from simply walking away when it matters most, hit that subscribe button. And tell me in the comments, when was the last time you called your parents? Because after you hear this story, you might want to pick up that phone. This is one of those true Reddit-style stories about family drama that'll make you think twice about the people you take for granted. Now, let me take you back. Back to where it all started. Riverside, Indiana. Population, 4,200. The kind of town where everyone knows your name, your business, and what time you take your coffee. John Miller's garage sat at the end of Maple Street. Not the fancy kind with hydraulic lifts and computer diagnostics. Just an old 2-car garage with oil-stained concrete, walls lined with tools, and the smell of motor oil and sawdust that never quite left. For 37 years, that garage was where John fixed everything. Engines. Lawnmowers. Bicycles. Lives sometimes. Folks would come by with broken things, and John would fix them. Never charged much. Never turned anyone away. But the garage wasn't just about fixing cars. It was where he'd held his son Ethan for the first time after bringing him and Margaret home from the hospital. Where he'd taught that little boy to hold a wrench before he could spell his own name. Where they'd rebuilt a 1967 Mustang together, piece by piece, summer after summer. And it was where John had sat alone the night Margaret died. Lung cancer. 53 years old. Gone in 6 months. Ethan was 14. People said John should sell the house. Too many memories. Too much space for one man and a grieving teenager. But John couldn't leave. Not the garage. It was the last place where all 3 of them had been happy together. So he stayed. Raised Ethan there. Kept the garage running. Kept the memories alive. This father-son bond he thought was unbreakable. Ethan was a smart kid. Honor roll. Science fair ribbons. College scholarship. John was so damn proud. "Dad, I got into Northwestern," Ethan had said, waving that acceptance letter. John remembered hugging him right there in the garage, both of them covered in grease from working on Mrs. Patterson's Buick. "That's my boy," John had whispered. "Your mother would be so proud." But Chicago was 4 hours away. 4 hours that might as well have been 4,000 miles. And that's when the real betrayal started, slow and painful, like watching someone you love drift out to sea. At first, Ethan came home every few weeks. Then every month. Then holidays. Then, just Christmas. Maybe. This is the kind of story you read on Reddit about family betrayal that builds slowly until you realize the damage is already done. John understood. He really did. Kids grow up. They build their own lives. That's what you raise them for, isn't it? To leave. To become something more than you were. But understanding doesn't make the quiet any easier. Doesn't make the abandonment hurt any less. Every Sunday, John still made 2 cups of coffee. An old habit. A stubborn hope. He'd sit on the workbench, drinking his black, watching Ethan's cup go cold across from him. sometimes he'd talk to it. To the empty space where his son used to sit. Busy week at the shop today, Ethan. Fixed Patterson's car again, third time this year, that old carburetor just won't quit. Remember when you helped me with it? You were what, 12? You had grease all over your face. The cup never answered. Ethan did call. Once a month, maybe. Always rushed. Always distracted. Background noise of the city, of meetings, of a life that didn't have room for an old man in a small town. The kind of betrayal that doesn't look like betrayal from the outside. Hey Dad, just checking in. How are you? I'm good, son. How's work? Crazy busy. Big project. Listen, I gotta run, but I'll call you soon, okay? Okay, son. I love you. You too, Dad. Bye. 15 years of those calls. 15 years of soon. 15 years of 2 coffee cups, one growing cold. 15 years of a father watching his son betray every promise they'd ever made to each other without even realizing it was happening. Then came the letter. Certified mail. Legal letterhead. The ultimate betrayal in black and white. John's hands shook as he opened it at the kitchen table. His reading glasses had smudges on them, but he could see the words clearly enough. Notice of intent to sell property. Dear Mr. John Miller, this letter serves as notification that Ethan Miller, co-owner of the property located at 412 Maple Street, Riverside, Indiana, intends to initiate the sale of said property. Co-owner. Because John had added Ethan's name to the deed years ago. For estate planning. For security. For the day when John wouldn't be around anymore and Ethan would need to handle things. He never thought his own son would use it against him like this. This is the kind of family drama story that makes you question everything you thought you knew about loyalty. The phone rang 2 hours later. Dad, did you get the letter? I got it. Look, I know this seems sudden, but... Dad, you're almost 80. That house is too much for you. The maintenance, the property taxes, the stairs. I've been talking to some people, and there's a really nice assisted living place about 20 minutes from here in Chicago. They have activities, healthcare on site. I'm not moving to Chicago, Ethan. Silence. Dad, be reasonable. You can't keep living in that old house by yourself. What if something happens? What if you fall? Then I fall. Dad, this isn't about being stubborn. This is about what's practical. The house, the garage, they're just buildings. They're not, Mom. Selling them doesn't mean... John interrupted, soft but firm. When do you want me out? Long silence. Dad? It's okay, son. Whatever you think is best. The line went dead. And with it, the last thread of the father-son relationship John had spent his whole life building. The sold sign went up 3 weeks later. Ethan hired a company to handle everything. Professional movers. Estate salespeople. John didn't have to lift a finger. His son couldn't even be bothered to come help him pack up a lifetime. The betrayal was complete. Except he did lift a finger. Every morning, he'd wake up at 5:30 like always, make his coffee, and start packing. Slowly. Carefully. 43 years in one house. You accumulate things. You accumulate memories. You accumulate regrets about the son who stopped caring somewhere along the way. Margaret's recipe box. Still smelled like cinnamon. Ethan's report cards, tied with a rubber band. All A's and B's. Back when he still came home every weekend. Back when family mattered. The baseball glove John bought him for his 10th birthday. Still in the closet. Barely used because Ethan had preferred computers to sports. Photos. Hundreds of photos. Ethan as a baby. Ethan's first day of school. Ethan and Margaret in the garage, both laughing, both covered in paint from when they tried to refinish an old dresser. This was before the betrayal. Before his son became too important for his father. But the garage was the hardest. This is where every memory lived. Where every broken promise was made. Tools passed down from John's father. The workbench John had built with his own hands. The calendar still turned to December 2008, the last time Ethan had spent Christmas there. The last time he'd pretended to care. And the Mustang. Still there. Still unfinished. They'd gotten it running, but never completed the interior. Never got the paint job Ethan wanted. Never finished what they'd started. Just like their relationship. Just like every promise Ethan had ever made. John would sit in the driver's seat sometimes, hands on the wheel, imagining the day they'd finally take it out on the highway. Father and son. Windows down. Radio up. Free. But that day never came. The betrayal made sure of that. The estate sale people tagged everything. Put prices on memories. Strangers walked through, pointing at John's life, negotiating over his past. This is what his son had reduced him to. How much for the tool set? $40. I'll give you $25. Sold. Just like John had been sold out by his own flesh and blood. Moving day. 2 guys from the company showed up at 7 a.m. Young guys. Early 20s. Probably college students earning extra money. At least they had the decency to show up. More than his own son could say. The taller one, Jake, his name tag said, he was respectful. Careful. Treated John's things like they mattered. Which was more respect than Ethan had shown in 15 years. You've got a lot of great tools, sir, Jake said, wrapping wrenches in newspaper. My grandfather had a garage like this. I used to help him work on cars. John just nodded. Smiled a little. Thinking about how Jake's grandfather probably had a grandson who actually cared. Who actually showed up. They worked through the morning. Boxes and boxes. Furniture. Kitchen stuff. Bedroom set. All of it loaded into the truck, heading to storage until Ethan figured out what John would need at the assisted living place. Like he had any idea what his father needed. He'd stopped knowing that years ago, when the betrayal started. Then they got to the workbench. The heart of the garage. The place where father and son had once been happy. It was old. Solid oak. Heavy as hell. They had to unhook it from the wall, where John had bolted it in decades ago. Jake started removing the back panel to access the bolts. And that's when he saw it. Hey, Mr. Miller? There's something back here. John walked over. His knees hurt. His back hurt. Everything hurt lately. Especially his heart. Jake pulled out a wrench. Old. Rusted a little. But not like the others. This one had been hidden. Deliberately placed behind the workbench, in a space where only someone dismantling it would ever find it. And taped to the handle was a note. Yellowed paper. John's handwriting from 17 years ago. Jake read it out loud, not realizing what it would do. Not knowing this was the moment everything would change. For my son Ethan, so you'll always remember where we started. No matter how far you go, this garage is where your roots are. I'm proud of you. Love, Dad. June 2008. Silence. June 2008. The month before Ethan left for college. John had hidden it there, planning to show it to Ethan when they finally finished the Mustang. A surprise. A reminder. A promise that no matter what happened, their bond was stronger than distance. But they never finished the Mustang. And John had forgotten the note was even there. A promise broken by time and betrayal. Jake looked at John. The old man was crying. Not sobbing. Just tears running down his weathered face, silent and steady. The kind of tears that come from a father realizing his son never cared enough to come back and find what was waiting for him. Sir, do you want me to call someone? John shook his head. Just take a picture of it. Send it to this number. He wrote down Ethan's phone number on a piece of cardboard. Jake took the photo. Sent the text. He should know, John said quietly. He should know it was here. He should know what he threw away. This was John's revenge. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just the truth. Just showing his son exactly what he'd been too busy to see. What he'd betrayed for a career and a life that didn't include his father. Ethan was in a meeting. Quarterly budget review. PowerPoint slides. Conference room with glass walls overlooking downtown Chicago. The life he'd chosen over his father. The betrayal made flesh. His phone buzzed. He ignored it. Then it buzzed again. And again. Unknown number. He glanced at it under the table. A photo. Of a wrench. With a note. He couldn't read the note in the thumbnail. He zoomed in. For my son Ethan, so you'll always remember where we started. The meeting continued around him. Someone was talking about Q3 revenue. Someone else about operational costs. Ethan heard none of it. All he could see was that note. His father's handwriting. 2008, 17 years ago. The year he left and never really came back. The year the betrayal started and he didn't even know it. He'd never seen it. Never knew it existed. His father had hidden it for him, waiting for the right moment. Waiting for them to finish what they'd started. Waiting for Ethan to come home. But Ethan hadn't come back. Hadn't made time. Hadn't cared enough. And now his father's quiet revenge was this, a note that showed Ethan exactly who he'd become. The son who abandoned his father. The son who chose everything else over the man who raised him alone. I'm sorry, I have to go, Ethan said, standing abruptly. His chair scraped against the floor. Everyone stared. He didn't care. For the first time in 15 years, work didn't matter. The meeting didn't matter. Nothing mattered except getting home to his father. He grabbed his coat and ran. 4 hours to Riverside. He made it in 3. Speeding. Praying he wouldn't get pulled over. Hands shaking on the wheel. This is what people on Reddit call the moment of realization. When you finally understand what you've done. When the betrayal you committed comes back to hit you in the face. He called his father's phone. Straight to voicemail. He called the movers. Jake answered. Where's my father? Is he okay? He left about an hour ago. Said he needed some air. We haven't seen him since. What? What do you mean he left? Where did he go? I don't know, sir. He just walked away. Ethan's blood ran cold. His father. Alone. After reading that note. After watching strangers pack up his entire life. After his son betrayed him one final time. Ethan pulled up to 412 Maple Street at 4:17 p.m. The moving truck was still there. The house looked empty. Hollow. Like the relationship he'd destroyed. He ran inside. Dad? Dad! Nothing. The echo of his own voice in an empty house. The sound of abandonment coming back to haunt him. Kitchen empty. Bedroom empty. Living room boxes everywhere but no John. Then he heard it. A door. The side door to the garage. He ran. The garage was almost empty now. Tools gone. Workbench partially dismantled. The Mustang still there, covered in dust, unfinished. Just like everything between them. And on the corner of the workbench, 2 coffee cups. One empty. One still half full. Still warm. Ethan touched it. His hand shook. His father had been here. Recently. Maybe minutes ago. Still making 2 cups of coffee even on the day his son kicked him out of his own home. Still hoping. Still waiting. Still being the father Ethan had stopped being a son to. Dad? Dad, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Where are you? He searched everywhere. Behind the garage. Around the house. Down the street. Panic rising. This is how Reddit stories about family regret always end. With someone searching for the person they betrayed, hoping it's not too late. Mrs. Patterson from next door was watering her flowers. Mrs. Patterson! Have you seen my dad? She looked up, startled. Oh, Ethan. Yes, dear. I saw him. He was walking toward the park about an hour ago. Had a bag with him. I asked if he needed a ride, but he said no. He wanted to walk. Said he wanted to remember the way. The way to what? To the cemetery, sweetheart. Where your mother is. Riverside Memorial Cemetery was 6 blocks away. John used to walk there every Sunday after church. Every week for 17 years. Ethan knew this. But he'd never gone with him. Not once since college. Another betrayal. Another abandoned promise. Ethan ran. Past the pharmacy. Past the elementary school. Past every place that held memories he'd forgotten to keep. Every place that reminded him of the father he'd taken for granted. The cemetery gate was open. The sun was starting to set, golden light filtering through the old oak trees. He found his father at Margaret's grave. Sitting on the ground. Back against the headstone. Eyes closed. Peaceful. Dead? John's eyes opened. Tired. Red from crying. But alive. Ethan. Ethan collapsed next to him. Grabbed his father's hand. Dad, I thought you. I'm still here, son. For now. They both started crying. Father and son. Together for the first time in what felt like forever. Dad, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The note, the garage. I never knew. I should have been there. I should have come home. I should have finished the Mustang with you. I should have made time. I abandoned you and I didn't even realize I was doing it. Sure. I know. I betrayed you. I chose everything else over you and I didn't see it until it was almost too late. Ethan. John squeezed his son's hand. You were busy. You were building a life. That's what I wanted for you. But I left you alone. All those Sundays. All those calls I cut short. All those times I said soon and never meant it. You made 2 cups of coffee for 15 years and I never came. What kind of son does that? You know what I did every Sunday, Ethan? I made 2 cups of coffee. One for me. One for you. Even when you weren't there. Because someday I thought you might walk through that door. I never gave up on you. Not once. Even when you'd given up on me. And I never did. I never came home until you forced me to buy selling the house. Until you showed me what I'd thrown away. John nodded, tears falling. His revenge wasn't cruel. It was honest. It was showing his son the truth about what their relationship had become. But you're here now. They sat there together. Father and son. At Margaret's grave. As the sun set over Riverside. Both knowing that some betrayals can't be undone. Some time can't be recovered. But maybe, just maybe, some bonds can be rebuilt if you're willing to try. Ethan, promise me something. Anything, Dad. Don't wait. Whatever you need to say to someone. Whoever you need to see. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until it's too late. I waited for you for 15 years. I don't regret it. But don't make someone else wait for you. Don't betray the people who love you by thinking you have all the time in the world. Because someday the coffee gets cold. And you can't warm it back up. Someday the person waiting for you won't be there anymore. And all you'll have left is regret and a garage full of memories you took for granted. John Miller passed away peacefully 3 days later. Heart failure. The doctor said it had been coming for a while. Said John probably knew. Maybe that's why he'd finally agreed to sell the house. Maybe that's why he'd hidden that note where someone would find it. Maybe his quiet revenge was making sure Ethan understood, before it was too late, what real betrayal looks like when you're the one doing it. Ethan was with him. Held his hand. Told him every story he could remember from that garage. Every lesson. Every moment. Every "I love you" he'd forgotten to say before. Trying to make up for 15 years in 3 days. At the funeral, the church was packed. Everyone in Riverside knew John. Everyone had a story about the garage, about the man who fixed things, who never turned anyone away. Who never abandoned anyone, even when they abandoned him. Ethan spoke. He told them about the wrench. About the note. About 17 years of Sundays he'd missed. About the father who never stopped making 2 cups of coffee. About the son who realized too late what he'd thrown away. This is the kind of Reddit story about family betrayal and regret that makes people look up from their phones and call their parents. Because sometimes the worst betrayal isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's gradual. It's choosing everything else until there's nothing left. And he told them about the last thing his father said to him. Don't wait. After the service, Ethan went back to the garage one more time. It was empty now. But he brought two things with him: the wrench and 2 cups of coffee. He sat on the floor where the workbench used to be, set 1 cup down across from him, and he talked, like his father used to do, to the empty space where someone he loved used to be. Hey, Dad. I'm here. I'm finally here. I know it's too late. I know you're gone. But I'm here. I'm not selling the garage. I'm keeping it. I'm going to finish the Mustang. It's going to take me a while. I don't remember half of what you taught me. But I'll figure it out. And every Sunday, I'm going to make 2 cups of coffee. 1 for me. 1 for you. Because you taught me what that means now. It means you never gave up. You never stopped waiting. You never stopped loving me, even when I forgot to love you back. Even when I betrayed everything you taught me about family and loyalty, and showing up for the people who matter. The coffee grew cold. Both cups. But this time, Ethan didn't leave until it did. If you have parents. If you have someone who's waiting for your call. Someone who's making coffee for 2 even though you're not there. Someone you've been too busy to see. Someone you've been taking for granted. Call them. Visit them. Today. Not soon. Not when you have time. Not when things slow down. Today. Because one day, the coffee will be cold. And you won't get another chance to warm it back up. One day you'll be the one sitting in an empty garage, holding a wrench with a note you never knew existed, realizing that the real betrayal was your own. Don't let your story end with, I wish I had. Don't let it end with regret and revenge that comes too late to matter. Let it end with, I'm glad I did. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone you need to call, hit that like button and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And please tell me in the comments, what's one thing you'll do differently after hearing this story? Who are you going to reach out to today? Because this Reddit-style family drama isn't just entertainment. It's a warning. It's a lesson about father-son relationships gone wrong and the betrayal of taking someone's love for granted. Thank you for listening. And thank you for being here. Now go make that call. Go visit that person. Before it's too late to say sorry.